Hello everybody, my name is Monika Ewa Rakoczy and I will be presenting today the work of mine and my colleagues about the evolution of the climate change debate across different public spheres. Our work is done as a part of H2020 European project Odysseus, interested in opinion dynamics and cultural conflict in European spaces. In the scope of this project, we are dealing with topics such as geopolitics, refugee crisis, or as in case of this work, climate change debate. One of the goals of Odysseus is to integrate such empirical research in the Penelope platform, which aims to provide tools for analyzing debates on online media. The aim of our work here is to observe and analyze the evolution of climate change debate across different media spheres. In general, media spheres are understood as any media source broadcasted or published. In our case, we use three different types of media spheres. Social media represented by Twitter data, mass media exemplified by a corpus of Guardian articles, and political sphere represented by a set of UK Parliament speeches. All these databases contain documents containing the word climate change and are published between 2016 and 2019. We all know that these three spheres discuss current events in the world, in particular such important and reality-changing one like climate change. From discussion on the budget concerning floods and heat waves, through angry tweets of climate deniers, to articles describing numerous environmental impacts caused by climate change, each of the media is concerned by global warming. However, how is it really done? How does this discussion change in different spheres? What particular topics are discussed and are they comparable from one media sphere to another? How does the vocabulary differ? Are climate-related events spoken about differently? Can we observe specific patterns of discussions in each spheres? In this talk, we will try to answer at least partially those questions. In our work, we used the data in two different ways. First, we'll focus on utilizing the discussion content, such as tweets, speeches, or articles. I'll talk about topic analysis, which consists of three main parts: topic modeling for obtaining subjects of discussions, topic comparison, and topics temporal analysis. I will then discuss the second part, which deals with the way actors are interacting with each other, and I will mainly talk here about community detection on Twitter. Finally, I will discuss our analysis of a combination of topics with interaction. Our focus lies in investigation of what kind of topics are discussed by different communities and how they differ. To begin with, we're wondering what kind of subtopics are used in online discussions about climate change. Within such a wide topic, it is possible to talk about various things: policies, floods, future events. Therefore, we used a well-known algorithm for topic modeling called latent dirichlet allocation, or LDA. And for each of the dataset, we trained different LDA models using as input tweets, articles, or speeches. As a result, we get a partitioning of documents into topical groups, each group being characterized by some specific lexical distribution. For example, on the right, we can see the main words associated with one particular topic we obtained. We also obtain for each document the probability that it does belong to a given topic. Here we can see the resulting topics for Twitter. On the left, it's blue, and with 9 topics, and for the Guardian, on the right, it's pink, with 10 topics. Thanks to topic modeling, we hence obtained for each of the datasets a set of topics. While all the datasets concerned climate change, from this short example, we can clearly see that the scopes of the topics differ. While these subjects are fairly similar, we observe some specificities in the use of water-related language, such as Arctic and sea for Twitter, water and flood for parliamentary speeches, or water and reef for The Guardian. We can also spot some clear differences, such as those ones we can see on the slide. This shows the need for more specific approach for aligning and comparing topics across different media spheres. So how can we organize, compare, and distinguish between all these particular topics? Each topic is characterized by its lexical distribution. Which word is likely to appear in a document belonging to that topic? In order to organize the many topics we obtained, we can hence compare their lexical distributions. To do so, we choose to use relative entropy, also known as Kullback-Leibler divergence. Intuitively, relative entropy quantifies the surprise one experiences when reading a document belonging to a given topic while actually believing it belongs to another one. In other words, it is a measure of information discrepancy that we use to gather topics in similarity groups. We can observe very isolated topics such as T3, for example, which are very specific to a particular sphere of debate. We can also observe the aligned topics such as G8 and T6, which are quite similar topics appearing in two different spheres, here Guardian and Twitter. And finally, we can also observe more complex groups of topics that are intertwined within several spheres. Once we identified and isolated such a topical group of interest, one can then look for specificities within such a group. Using words as variables and topics as observations, we proceed to a classical principal component analysis to identify lexical specificities within one particular group of similar topics. Here, the topics we previously saw, P2, T2, G4, and additionally G1, all focus on environmental impacts of climate change. But PCA highlights the main lexical variations. For example, when discussing environmental impacts, UK parliamentary speeches are more interested in rural areas, pollution, and waste. Guardian, on the other hand, has a strong focus on marine and forest impacts. And both Guardian and Twitter address the questions of impacts on climate change. For example, temperatures, extreme weather, sea level, along with their specific scientific study. This approach hence allows us to organize topics by similarity groups, then to analyze deeper the particular focuses of each spheres of debates. On top of dealing with lexical differences between topics, we also wanted to investigate their temporal evolution. By using the distribution of topics among documents, we can observe how different topics gain and lose popularity through time. Moreover, by focusing on particular peaks, we aim to distinguish and identify the real-life events that are addressed by a given sphere of debate. In order to do so, we first investigate particular time slot during which the popularity of given topic increases. For example, on the right, we deal with Twitter daily data between March and July of 2017. We define a probability peak as an event that is lasting more than 2 days and is having a value higher than the topic's average. Let us investigate one particular topic from this set, topic 6, that is containing words such as world, action, future, or people. And hence, it is related to international activists against climate change. In case of Twitter data, we actually can exploit two different types of information. Tweets that relate to creation of the content, and retweets that relates to its exchange within the social network. Here is the probability distribution of tweets in topic 6 through the time. And thanks to this plot, we can observe the increase of popularity of the content from topic 6 in particular time slots. On the other hand, the probability distribution of retweets quantifies the dissemination of content information from original tweets. Thanks to those, we can detect not only the increased popularity of the topic, which is obtained solely by the tweet's temporal distribution, but also we can infer that the high dissemination rate of this particular topics can be caused by particular news event. In order to more precisely characterize the corresponding event, we can then analyze the content of tweets belonging to that topic published during this specific period and that have been the most tweeted. For example, for our time period that we used, it is really easy to state that the peak is caused by the climate march in 2017. Up till now, we were able to identify different topics touched by climate change debate, compare them, and investigate what climate-related events they describe. Now we will focus on the problem of observing interactions between different users connected to climate change debate. The idea is to be able to identify different groups in order to investigate what kind of users discuss with each other the most. In case of Twitter, we use retweets as interaction data to build directed network where nodes are users and the weight of the link between two users indicates the number of retweets. The specialization is obtained by force-directed layout, where relative positions of the nodes are defined by the link weight between them. Clusters obtained that way are often assumed to be opinion clusters. The colors here in the network correspond to clusters we identified using the modularity optimizing community detection algorithm. While this representation offers the intuition about the vast number of interactions between the Twitter users, the interaction between communities can only be guessed. Therefore, we created a cluster graph that you can see on the right. In this representation, every node is a community from the previous graph, and node size represents the number of nodes. It can be observed that 5 communities out of the 6 that we can see are strongly connected, and 1 is on the fringe of the network. So who are the users in these communities? We can identify that the odd one community is the community of skeptic users, such as Donald Trump or Fox News. On the other hand, all 5 communities are connected to scientific-based climate change information exchange. 1 is news-related, 3 consists of different activists and organizations, and 1 is strictly connected to the 350.org environmental organization. Lastly, by combining content analysis and interaction analysis, we can now wonder about what are the topical interests of the communities and what kind of content is retweeted within each of them. By using the information from topic modeling discussed beforehand and identified user communities that I just showed, we can modify the interaction graph so that the size of the node represents inner retweet number and its color indicates the distribution of topics that the corresponding community talks about. Consequently, we can now see how organizations slash activists based in UK are focusing on discussing the energy and food problem. Similar community, but based mostly in Australia, on the other hand, uses much more vocabulary related to taking action, such as strikes or marches. On the other hand, the skeptics community uses terms such as scientists and weather. one possible reasoning for explaining this could be that they undermine or doubt climate change by using weather examples. And by this, they also undermine scientists. In this talk, we focused on step-by-step investigation and observation of the climate change debate in several spheres of discussion. First, by analyzing discussed topics, then by analyzing interactions between users, as well as dealing with the analysis of community-based topic discussions. For future work, we plan to go further into investigation of discussed topics within user communities by, amongst others, utilizing the UK Parliament Party's distinction. Furthermore, we aim to generalize our approach in order to integrate our tool into Penelope platform. Thank you very much for the talk.